You have a romantasy idea living rent-free in your head. You want to write it. So why does opening a blank document feel like staring into the void? If you've been circling your story idea for weeks, maybe months, without actually sitting down to write, first of all, you are not alone. And second of all, there is nothing wrong with you. Overwhelm is one of the most common reasons that beginner writers never actually start their books. Not lack of talent, not lack of ideas. Simple overwhelm. So today we're going to talk about why that happens and, more importantly, what to do about it. There are 3 traps that keep writers stuck at the starting line. And once you know what they are, they lose a lot of their power. We'll go through all 3, and then at the end, I'm going to give you one question that can actually get you writing today. Not next week, today. So let's get into it. Trap number 1, the everything problem. You tell yourself you need to know your entire world before you write your first scene. The geography, the magic system, the political history of the 3 kingdoms that will be referenced exactly once, somewhere in chapter 14. This is world building as procrastination, and it is sneaky. It feels productive. It looks like work, but it's really just fear wearing a very convincing costume. Because here's the truth. You learn your world by writing in it. Your first pages are where you discover what your world looks like, what it smells like, and what it feels like. You don't need to know everything before you start. You just need to know enough to write the very next scene. That is it. That is the whole job. Trap number 2 is the perfect first draft fantasy. Somewhere along the way, most writers absorb this idea that a first draft should be, well, good, that it should make sense, that it should be something that you wouldn't be absolutely mortified to show another human being. It should not be any of those things. A first draft is a discovery draft. It exists for you and only you. Its one job is to help you figure out your story. Think of it less like writing a book and more like having a very long, very messy conversation with your characters. They're going to surprise you, so let them. I want you to give yourself explicit permission right now to write badly. I know it sounds cliche, but it's super important. I give myself permission to write a terrible first draft. There, okay, done. Now you can start. Trap number 3 is waiting to feel ready. This one is one of the sneakiest of all because it feels so reasonable. Of course you should feel ready before you begin something this big, right? Of course you should feel confident. Of course you should feel like you actually know what you're doing. But check this out. Author Maya Angelou, whose autobiography, I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings, is considered one of the most important books in American literature. But she once admitted that even after writing 7 autobiographies, she would still think, uh-oh, they're going to find out. I've run a game on everybody and they're going to find out. If renowned writer Maya Angelou felt like a fraud, I think you can give yourself just a little grace for feeling unready for page 1. Because readiness isn't something that arrives before you start. It's something that builds as you go. I know that's scary. I know that kind of sucks, but this is how it is. The only way to feel like a writer is to write. So here's what I want you to do instead of waiting. Start with what you already know. Not what you wish you knew, what you actually right now already have. Maybe that's your protagonist's name and the fact that she has a complicated relationship with her magic. Maybe it's a scene that keeps flashing in your head like a film clip that you just cannot shake. Maybe it's just a feeling, a vibe, a mood, an image. That's enough. Start with that and set yourself a ridiculously small goal for your first writing session, like embarrassingly small. Like try 200 words, because that's approximately 1 page and it's more than enough to begin discovering your story. Your ego wants to write a chapter, but your nervous system needs those 200 words. Listen to your nervous system. Okay, here's that question that I promised you in the beginning. When you're stuck at the starting line, when the blank page feels hostile, when you've opened your document more times than you'd like to admit, ask yourself this. What's the one scene I can't stop thinking about? Not the scene you think should come first. Not the scene that makes the most logical sense as an opening. The scene that keeps showing up uninvited. The one that's already half written in your head while you're doing the dishes or zoning out in the shower. Start there. You don't have to start at the beginning. Some writers figure out their story before they write it, and some writers figure it out by actually writing it. If you're the second kind, I know I am, your excitement is pointing you somewhere. Trust that excitement. Follow the scene that's already alive in your head and let it show you where the story wants to go. You don't need to have it all figured out. You just need to start. Now, once you've got those first words on the page, you're going to hit your first real checkpoint. There are 5 foundational questions that every romantasy writer needs to sit with early on. Things like who your protagonist really is at her core, what kind of world she's walking into, and what's standing between her and what she wants most. They're not as overwhelming as they sound, I promise you, and none of them require a perfect answer. In fact, I like to think of them as that ongoing conversation with your story. I break it all down in the next video, so check it out here. I dare you.